Hello, everyone, and happy Sunday, and welcome to this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. Let's get started right now with this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. I hope you all enjoy this Sunday in this edition of Politics with Riley King. First up, Gregg recalls watching the attacks of September 11 unfold with the First Lady. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
When it's time to invest in a new roof, be smart and look at more factors than just the final price. Not all roofs are the same, and not all roofs...
On 9/11, Senator Judd Gregg ended up watching the tragedy unfold in Washington, alongside First Lady Laura Bush, who had come to the Capitol to testify before his committee.
Mrs. Bush and I were walking down the hallway, and the Secret Service came running up. They were around her all the way, but there were some other ones came running up. They said, "We can't take you back to the White House, Mrs. Bush." And we looked at each other, and I said, "Well, Laura, why don't you come and sit in my office until they figure out what they're going to do?" And we just watched the buildings collapse and the massive amount of smoke that covered the whole city of New York, which was so startling.
That morning, the Senator and First Lady also spent time in the office of Senator Ted Kennedy, who Gregg says turned to family photos on the wall, recognizing the country was in the midst of another scarring national moment.
And it had to be so surreal to be with Senator Kennedy as he's reflecting on the loss of his brother in these dual kind of national tragedies surrounding you at that moment.
Adam, surreal is the right word. It really was. I mean, it was such an extraordinarily unusual experience. And Senator Kennedy was a national figure. He's a good friend, actually. You know, we were at different parties and we disagreed on just about everything, but we were good friends. And he was obviously being traumatized. He was obviously having a flashback to this situation with his brothers.
As for the response to 9/11 and its legacy, wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, the senator says America got some things right and some things wrong.
I think nation building was bound to fail in both of those nations, and that was our mistake. But it was not a mistake to go in, find the people who were threatening us, and make sure that they couldn't organize and threaten us again.
Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Three candidates compete in primary for Laconia Mayor. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Bentley Chevrolet is your neighborhood dealer who treats you like family. If we don't have it, our 9-state dealer network gives you access to over 30,000 new Chevrolet vehicles. Bentley Chevrolet.
In Laconia, next week's municipal primary election is expected to draw statewide attention. The incumbent mayor, Andrew Hosmer, is seeking a second term. He won a hotly contested race in 2019 and says there's still a lot on his agenda he wants to address.
We need to find more parking downtown to support the economy that's starting to boom down here right now. We certainly want to make it convenient for people to come down here and enjoy what the city has to offer.
One of Hosmer's challengers is Tyler Gunyon, an auto mechanic who says Laconia would benefit from the leadership of a working-class mayor with a young family.
Well, we were founded on regular, everyday people. And I figure to us, to get that perspective from somebody who's just worked hard would be good for us.
State Representative and school board member Don Johnson is also running, saying the city needs to address homeless issues and be more transparent.
I'm the soccer mom. I'm the girl next door. I just want to do what's best for the community and best for everybody. I love listening to everybody's ideas and trying to see if we can work together.
Johnson ignited controversy late last year after she says she mistakenly shared a link on social media from a neo-Nazi website that included anti-Semitic imagery. She deleted the post and apologized. Johnson tells News 9 she received the link in a group chat and did not know the source of the article or see its full content before posting. She says people should know it does not represent her values.
If they want to hear an explanation, contact me and I can talk to them one-on-one. And that's what I've done with everybody who's asked me. It's a one-on-one conversation so they can understand what really happened.
Voters will head to the polls for the primary, eliminating one candidate from this race this coming Tuesday, September 14th. Reporting in Laconia, Adam Sexton, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Guff Brown files statement of candidacy for 1st Congressional District U.S. House seat. Republican and former longtime TV reporter continues to evaluate making first run for elective office. Democrat Catherine Rumbew wins New Hampshire State House seat. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Walmart, America's largest, is hiring. Earn up to $25.50 per hour plus benefits working at Walmart's distribution center. Get a $5,000 sign-on bonus. But hurry, you must be hired before September 24th. Apply today online or text DC to 240240. Walk-ins welcome.
In New Hampshire politics, Bedford has traditionally been a fortress of Republican votes, and the GOP currently enjoys a 12% voter registration advantage here over Democrats. But last night, voters turned out for a State House special election and gave a narrow victory to Democratic candidate Catherine Rumbew.
It was great energy yesterday. I feel like we had really great energy at the polls all day. So many folks worked to make yesterday happen.
Rumbew's win by 37 votes out of around 5,600 cast will be challenged in a recount. But it's the first flip of a legislative seat from Republican to Democrat in the country this year. It comes not only in the face of that town voter registration disadvantage for Democrats, but also national political headwinds for the Biden administration. On top of that, the Republican candidate had plenty of support, including several national GOP figures dropping in to draw attention to the race.
Linda Camerata ran a very good campaign. She was very forthright, very honest, and very good. And I am concerned about actually who came out to vote.
Democrats believe the victory is a referendum on a state budget that included new restrictions on abortion.
It's not the agenda that the people of New Hampshire expected. And they're obviously reacting very poorly to it.
This election result can be interpreted as another sign Bedford is following a national trend of Republicans losing support in the suburbs. But local political watchers say a bigger takeaway is that New Hampshire Democrats appear to have their political machine firing on all cylinders heading into 2022.
They have a strong ground game in New Hampshire, and they were able to take some of the issues that are really important to voters and get those voters to the polls.
In Bedford, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Sununu says doctors urge him to minimize stress after medical scare. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Bentley Chevrolet is your neighborhood dealer who treats you like family. If we don't have it, our 9-state dealer network gives you access to over 30,000 new Chevrolet vehicles.
Bentley Chevrolet. From his earliest days in office, Governor Gov Sununu has been on the move, and he's been front and center amid the pandemic as the state's chief executive. But the long hours and stress caught up with him last week when he ended up in the hospital with extreme exhaustion and dizziness from a bleeding ulcer.
They had taken some blood, and they were just wonderful staff, and the nurse kind of pops into the room a little bit wide-eyed, grabs the doctor, and she starts saying some number, 5.2 or 5.3 or something. I don't know what it means. And the doctor quickly turns around and starts asking me a lot more questions about what has happened over the past few days. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And he said, look, you've lost a lot of blood, like a lot of blood.
Sununu says the relief of having tested negative for COVID earlier in the week was long gone at that point.
It was like, okay, I'm in the right place. There's something wrong. And they said we have to start transfusions immediately. And so that's kind of a scary point. I knew right then it was much more serious than anything I had anticipated.
A blood donor himself, the governor received a series of transfusions thanks to the donations of 3 to 5 other people.
in that moment, you think, boy, I've paid this one forward, thank goodness, and I got to keep paying it forward.
Sununu says he's on the mend, but it's going to take time for him to recover.
My blood levels won't be back up for probably another month or so.
Sununu says he'll still be giving 100% as governor, but doctors have told him he needs to find ways to de-stress.
He said, I'm not going to tell you anything you don't already know, right? Eat healthier. Try to exercise a little more. Try to minimize your stress. Take more time for yourself. I mean, all these things that we hear about all the time, but we think we'll get to it down the road. I just probably have to prioritize that a little sooner, and rightly so.
In Newfields, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King, right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for watching this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and see you back here next Sunday for another edition of Politics with Riley King. Goodbye, everyone.